The FBA movement is extremely reductive online, and while in reality makes a lot of sense, espouses rhetoric that is akin to white nationalist talking points about other black people in the diaspora. There's a girl that just made a video about Jasmine Crockett calling her a tether, which is their favorite word, saying that she's Haitian because on her maternal grandmother's side, her ancestors came through Louisiana in the 1800s.
He got information on his page that bitch Jasmine Crockett is from Haiti. I knew she wasn't American. That hairline told me she wasn't American. The way she was acting too ghetto. We been half black FBA politicians that ain't never act that ghetto. Gwen Moore is on the Senate floor for Wisconsin. That woman ain't never acted ghetto like that. Jasmine Crockett is Haitian.
Are you not ashamed of yourself? Are you not embarrassed? This is really embarrassing.
One of the worst things about these movements online is that the majority of the people who are pushing this rhetoric forward do not have a grasp on history, like proper historical context, timelines, facts, and reality, and they just speak in these absolutes that make no sense. In the 1800s, with the Haitian Revolution happening, tens of thousands, if not 100,000 people fled the island of Saint-Domingue, and that included freemen who were mulatto mixed-race people, some black enslaved people, and a lot of French people, and then went to Louisiana, which was still part of the French new colony of the Americas. Those people were assimilated into that society, and that obviously eventually became part of the Louisiana Purchase, and all those people became Black American and American. But to insinuate that she is Haitian because her family came here centuries ago, which is so ridiculous to begin with. You don't understand how the transatlantic slave trade worked, do you? Because do you think that all the slaves that came to America came from Africa? No. A lot of the slaves that came to America came via the Caribbean, meaning that the British brought slaves to Barbados, Jamaica, and those two were a stopping ground for them sending slaves to America. So if your family comes from North Carolina or Virginia, you most likely have an ancestor that came from Barbados or Jamaica. Estimates that upwards of 100,000 slaves at the time came from the Caribbean, with Barbados and Jamaica being the #1 focal points for the springboard of slavery. I'd pose you this question. Are those black people who are Black American, who have been in the Americas since the 16, 17, 1800s in Virginia and North and South Carolina, are they not Black American because their ancestors came from Barbados and Kingston, Jamaica? You see how that works? When you're going to try to make claims to disparage someone and remove them from an ethnic group and a cultural group, and you don't know the history of how things work, your entire argument is invalidated. To come online and disparage Haitians by saying Jasmine Crockett is so ghetto and foundational Black Americans don't act ghetto. The trope of ghetto-ness comes from Black America. Whether it's a true depiction of Black Americans or one that has been rinsed through the lens of white supremacy, that has nothing to do with Haitians. And these talking points are so divisive, and you are being used as a tool of white supremacy to say, oh, Haitians are ghetto. That's why Jasmine Crockett is ghetto. Haitians are not ghetto, bro. You can say a lot of things about Haitians, but the definition of ghetto being associated with anyone Caribbean, not the truth. I need us to, in 2026, get some new talking points and or do research around the things you're talking about, especially if you're somebody who ascribes to this whole FBA movement. Like I said, in reality, delineation and protection of the culture of what foundational Black Americans build here is absolutely imperative, but not at the detriment of others.